All right, welcome back to Chapter 12, Section 12.1. This is Day 2. We're going to spend a little time looking at how do we estimate the parameters. Well, when all the conditions are met in our Box 2, our linear mnemonic device to help us remember what we do in Box 2, if those conditions are met, we can do inference about the regression model. This is our population or our true population model. We can make inferences about that. And the first step is to estimate the unknown parameters, to estimate our alpha and estimate our beta. So if we calculate the least squares regression line, the slope b in our sample is an unbiased estimator of the population slope. The y-intercept in our equation, that a value, so again if we're looking at our y hat equaling our a plus bx, our y-intercept, it's an unbiased estimate of the population y-intercept alpha. The remaining parameter is the standard deviation sigma, which describes the variability of the response y about the population regression line. Okay, so again it describes the variability of the response y about the population regression line. Okay, so it's kind of the standard deviation of our residuals. Least squared regression line computed from the sample data estimates the population regression line. So the residuals estimate how much y varies about the population lines. That's what I was just mentioning. And because sigma is a standard deviation of responses about the population regression line, we estimate it by the standard deviation of the residuals. Okay. So our estimate, our S is our estimate of sigma. And don't worry about this calculation. It'll be done with our technology. Or we'll have to be able to at least look at it and find it in a mini-tab output. Okay. In practice, we don't know sigma for the population regression line. So that's what kind of rules out any kind of a z test, because we don't know what that population sigma is. So we estimate what the standard deviation of the residuals S. Okay? Then we estimate the spread of the sampling distribution of B with standard error of the slope. So we're looking at the spread of the sampling distribution B. So we're looking at all those different slopes that we got. And the spread of those slopes, or we can call that the standard error of the slope, the spread of the slopes is calculated with this formula right here. And again, we'll use technology to calculate this. We won't have to worry about doing the hand calculations for this. So the question is, what happens if we transform the values of B by standardizing? Since the sampling distribution B is normal, we'd have our z-score. So we're going to take our sample statistic minus our parameter, all divided by the standard deviation of our statistic. Okay, and that should have a normal distribution. So again, our general z-scores are always, our test statistic minus our population parameter divided by the standard deviation. Excuse me. Well, replacing the standard deviation, of our sample, sample slopes, the same distribution with its standard error gives this statistic. And this is what we'll be using because we'll be using a t as our test statistic, since we don't know what that population standard deviation is, and we're going to be substituting in the standard error of our slopes. In the derivation of this formula, we're actually going to use the t distribution with n minus 2 degrees of freedom. And kind of just a short explanation on why we use 2 is because we've got paired data. We're getting data from both an x and a y. That's kind of the brief explanation. So we're getting it from two variables, and that's why it's n minus 2. So, our the approximation sampling distribution, the slope B for samples of size 20. This is what we have here. That goes back to that previous slide where we had the 1,000 B values plotted out. And that's where we had a sampled mean of about 10.36 right here. And then our standard deviation was about 1.27. If we normalize that, the sampling distribution of the standardized slopes is approximately a t distribution. Okay, and both look pretty normal. So we're going to construct a confidence interval. That's what we're going to look at in this video, is how to construct that confidence interval. Then the do part in box 3. And again, knowing confidence intervals are always our statistic, plus or minus our critical value. And again, this is going to be our t star here, times our standard deviation of the statistic. What we'll have here for ours, our statistic is that B value, what we get for our slope from our sample. As I mentioned here, the t star, so we're going to make sure we know how to use the t star table. And then our standard deviation will be the standard error of the slopes. So this is the t interval for slope. So when the conditions for regression inference are met, in other words, everything in box 2 is satisfied, our linear, those are all satisfied, we can go ahead and then create a confidence interval for the slope by using that setup for our confidence interval. And again, the standard error of the slope, this part right here, is calculated thusly. And again, the t star is using the table with n minus 2 degrees of freedom. All right, that should get us through day 2 of section 12.1, which now should be allowing us to do problems numbers 5, 7, 9, and 11. All right, good luck, and we'll see you in the next section when we'll talk about significance tests and comparing p-values to our alpha.